Hello, everybody. We are live. Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to today's Prezi video webinar. We're going to be talking about how you can build a Prezi video like this, but more on that in a second. People are still just coming in through the doors and finding somewhere to sit, even though it's at home these days. So my name's Spencer Waldron. I'm the brand communication director here at Prezi, and I'm going to be taking you through today's session. Whilst we wait for people to come in, maybe use the chat box and let us know where you're calling in from. Those of you who've been on one of my webinars before, you know that I'm in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Okay, who have we got? We have also people from Amsterdam. Hi, Andrea. Nicole from Wisconsin, Chris from Wyoming, Kyle from Chicago, New York City, LA, Stockholm, Sweden. Hello, Sweden. We also, wow, people from India, Antwerp, St. Louis, lots of people. Welcome, everybody. Okay, so you know where the chat button is. That's great. A little bit of housekeeping before we jump in. So yeah, the chat button, you can talk to us, talk to each other. We also have two of my colleagues on the call in the background today, so they'll also be able to help with any questions that you might have. If you have any questions for me about what we're doing on screen today and building the Prezi video, then please use the chat button, and then we'll be able to get to those at the end for the ones that couldn't be handled in the chat or anything like that. So Q&A for questions for me. And yes, we will be recording today's session, so don't worry about that. And basically, today's webinar is going to show you how to build a Prezi video like this. So for those of you who don't know what Prezi video is, it's this ability to bring content onto the screen with you, whether that's your slides, your Prezi presentation, your videos, and you can do it live like I'm doing here today, or you can also do it as pre-recorded videos as well. And I'm going to show you how you can do things like this and have a video playing next to you, and how to build out all of this through using one of our templates, as well as getting into some more interactive elements where you can bring a chart in and bring the data to life when you're doing the presentation. So yeah, so I'm going to be going through everything A to Z, how you can build a Prezi video like this. Okay, so with that, let's get started. I'm gonna shut down this Prezi video now because I'm going to share my screen with you and take you into Prezi. So let's do that. So now you should be able to see everything. Okay, so for those of you who have a Prezi account, you may recognize this. It's the dashboard. This is where you'll always start whenever you log into Prezi. And you can see that we have three products here on the left-hand side: Prezi Video, Prezi Design, and Prezi Present. And I'll talk a little bit about these two as well before we get into the nitty-gritty with Prezi Video. We also have something called the library, which I'm going to use in today's session. And this is, I guess, like just to highlight, this is a really amazing tool that you can use to really speed up how quickly you create presentations in the future, because you can store here not just images and icons and videos. You can, if you know Prezi, you can actually store entire Prezi structures in the library, but I'll talk more about that later on as we get into it. If you're on a team license, we also have something called the brand kit. So here is where you can obviously have your logo, and this is obviously just a dummy one, but you can have your logo and color palettes and everything set up. So just to give you that, initial kind of look around this dashboard. The other thing that's definitely worth knowing and remembering is this question mark that you see up here on the right-hand side, which is your gateway into an enormous amount of training and learning and knowledge and how-to articles. If you want to sign up for online training after this, again, it's all there. So this on the dashboard is always where to go if you need any help. Obviously, here is everything to do with your account. So let's look at the three products. So Prezi Present is the Prezi you will all know and love. It's undergone quite a few iterations over the years. The original version, which we now call Prezi Classic, which has been retired, kind of made way for Prezi Next, and it's now Prezi Present. And Prezi Present is we took the best of Prezi Next and the best of Prezi Classic, and we've put them together. And the editor inside Prezi Present is what we're going to be using today to create our Prezi video, and more on that in a while. We also have Prezi Design, and Prezi Design is, again, an amazing tool to help you create everything from social media channel art. You can do your YouTube thumbnail video covers. You can do lots of cool stuff, data visualization, interactive charts and graphs. You can build whole infographics out. And I could do a whole webinar just on this. So we're not going to get into that really today, but just so you're aware. And obviously we are here today to talk about Prezi Video. So when you arrive into the Prezi Video area, you'll see there's three main ways to create your video. There's something called quick record, and the clue is in the name. It really allows you to build something in a few minutes. You can import a PowerPoint, or you can use Prezi Present, which is what we'll do later on to build out that presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you the quick record briefly for those that might not have seen it. And what's happening now when you press that button is it's taken me straight into a live editor, and you'll see me appear on video in a second. And really at this point, you can just start adding content onto the screen with you. Need to hang on a second. Obviously Zoom's giving it some hardship. There we go. And it's picked up my other camera, which is also really interesting. So I'll change that in a second. So basically, what you're seeing here is the live editor. And I'm going to just go ahead and change my camera, or if it's not going to pick it up, let's hang on a second. Let me quit out of this. Sorry, I want you to be able to see me as well. Hang on. Let's see if that's shut down. Okay, let's give that a refresh. Bear with me 2 seconds, because it's definitely a better experience if you see my face, not my camera and the bottom of my microphone. If not, we'll just persevere. It's not the end of the world. So basically, you can just start. No, it's not going to do it. So we'll continue, carry on regardless. So you can obviously just start typing things into here like welcome to my meeting. And it will automatically start to put that onto the screen for you. And you can also upload using this button any images or other content that you might want to bring into the screen. You can also bring things in from Google Drive and Dropbox and OneDrive, places like that. And we provide an image and icon library. So I'll just bring in any image for now from our library just to show you. So then what you can do is, if you see over here on the right hand side, this is slide 1 or scene 1, as I like to call it. And you can just go ahead and press there to add another one. And then this may be, I don't know, the first topic that I'm going to talk about. And we'll add in just another image. And then I'll go ahead and add a third one. So this might be the second topic that I'm going to talk about. I can just add in another image. And at this point, I can either click on these thumbnails and it will show me it, or I can use the arrow keys here on the presenter or the player. So you can start looking at, see, okay, how does that look? Now, if at this point I don't like the look of the template that it's using, or the font, or the colors, then I can go here to the bottom right where it says change template, and I can click on that. And it will bring up a whole range of templates that if I just click on there, it will automatically change the styling, the fonts, the colors, and I can literally go through and see which one may be good for my video. Now, the downside of this is you can't go into these templates and say, change that blue to a different color, or change the fonts, but it allows you to produce a video literally in 5 minutes. So once you arrive at one that you like and you think is okay, then you can just hit on practice and record. And at this point, you can start to either just practice it by using these little arrow keys here to move the content. You can also use the arrows on your keyboard to do the same movement. And over here, you have these three on the left-hand side here, these three icons that allow you to take the graphics away. And I'll say hello here. So you have just you on the camera feed. You can have you and your content, or I can take the camera feed away and it will focus on just the content. And you can even play with those as you're presenting and recording. And here I just click on this record button. It will do a 3, 2, 1 countdown. And now I'm actually recording my video. So I'll say, hi, welcome to today's meeting. Here's this first topic that I'm going to talk about. And maybe when I get to here, I want to do a quick pause, so I can press that pause button. Maybe I need to sneeze, or maybe I've forgotten what I'm going to say or something. And then I can press resume and it does another 3, 2, 1 countdown. And then I can obviously finish off the presentation. And then I just hit done when I'm finished, done recording. And then what that does is allow you to play it back. And now I'm actually like that. I can also do some basic trimming. So if I've got some dead space at the beginning and end, I can trim that off. And then I hit save video, and that's it. You have your video that you can send to people. Now at this point, you obviously want to choose, do you want it to be public or unlisted? If you choose to be public, then I definitely recommend that you fill out this area, the title, tags, and description, because that's what Prezi, or what Google will use to index that content. Prezi.com hosts somewhere in the region of 500 million pieces of content. So it's actually, if you have like marketing videos, for example, it might be a way for you to get discovered or found. And basically, once that's uploaded, I then can copy the view link. So I can just send somebody a URL and they can watch my video the same way that you do with a YouTube video link. I can download as an MP4 file. So I can upload it to somewhere else. I can obviously share on social media. I can take it into a video conference and go live with it. I can record again or delete. And delete is what I'm going to do because we don't need that video. We'll go back into the main dashboard. So that's the quick record. So that's designed if you definitely want to do something in literally 5-10 minutes and get that video out. The other option you have is obviously to import a PowerPoint. And for that, you'll need to have the desktop app, and I'll show you in a second where you can find that. And I can literally just open up my PowerPoint, and it should bring it in as it's importing. It's converting it now, and it will appear here on the screen with me once I've decided which slides do I want to bring in, so I can import them all. And here it is next to me on the screen. And it's that easy to import it. The big thing you need to bear in mind is if you have lots and lots and lots of text on your PowerPoint slides, then you definitely want to be editing that before you bring them in, because the text will be pretty small. But again, just to show you what's possible with bringing in your slides. And what we're going to do is to go back to here. Now, for the desktop app, if you see here, we're back on the dashboard. If you see this black button down the bottom left-hand side where it says Get Prezi Video on Desktop, so that's where you can click to download the desktop app. So you can do that, and I'll show you a little bit more in the desktop app in a while. But the desktop app is by far the best way to go live, because you can download your presentation into it, and that will save a lot of bandwidth when you're doing a presentation. So it's definitely the best way to do it, but more on that in a minute. So we've done quick record. We had a quick look at import the PowerPoint. And what we're going to do is use Prezi Present to build this one that you saw me showing you at the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and click Create New. And what this is going to do is bring us into the video templates. So the designers that work at Prezi have done an amazing job at creating many, many templates that you can use as a starting point. These are 100% customizable. You can change everything from the colors, the font, how it's structured. It's really, anything that you want to use. And then you click when you find one that you like, and it will open up a little preview window, and you can have a look through and then click use this template if you want to use it. And it's a really great way just to see the Prezi environment and see how you might kind of have your content. But again, you can pretty much build it as you like. Okay, so let's start by having a little bit of a look around the editor and talking about the Prezi environment. So I always like to say that Prezi pretty much works like Google Maps. So if you think, for example, on Google Maps, I don't know, let's say we're zoomed out all the way, and we're looking at the map of the US. And what do you see when you look? You just see the major cities. So maybe here we see New York, and then as you start to scroll on Google Maps, what happens? That top layer disappears, and then you start to see the next layer. And that's the same if I double click in here. The US layer goes away, and then this is now, all the information about New York. Hang on, let's go back in. So yeah, all of this information is about New York. Sorry, I'm just moving the Zoom UX out the way. So I can put all my stuff around New York here, and maybe these topics down here could be in New York. We'll have Central Park. Hang on, let's get rid of all that. So maybe this is Central Park. And if I zoom into Central Park, then maybe this will be the famous bridge that's in the middle of the park. And that's pretty much how Prezi works. It's layers of content as you zoom backwards and forwards through what we call topics. So each of these topics has many, many layers behind it. And this is probably the most important thing to understand about the Prezi environment, that, it's one of the few, if not the only software that's not built on this linear slide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can have this 3D canvas and build lots of different layers of content onto it. And you see here on the left-hand side, what this shows you is not slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. It's actually showing you the overview. So this is almost like the US in our Google Map analogy. And then here you're seeing the cities. You're seeing New York and the other topics. And you see these little gray key lines underneath. This shows you that there's more content underneath that. So I can double click in here, and it will expand all of those layers underneath the New York topic, so you can see it like that. So that's like a useful aside and helps you understand the environment that we're in a little bit. So when we look at the editor, I'll give you a bit of a tour. We have this little hamburger menu over here on the left, and I would definitely recommend looking at keyboard shortcuts. That's definitely something that can help you as you get to know Prezi and start to do more with it. This obviously shows you that everything is saved automatically. We save as you're working, so you don't need to worry about that. Here, I can change the name of my presentation, so we can do it as the weekly meeting or whatever it is that you want to call it. And then over here, we start to get into the menus. And Prezi has both static menus and what I call smart menus. So these three here are static, a static menu. This will always be here wherever you are and whatever you're doing. And this allows you to change things at a global level. So for example, I can change here the background image, which for Prezi video is a little bit less important, but I'll explain why. And if I press this button here, it will just randomly pull an image from our image library that you saw before when we inserted images. But for us, this is less useful, because what happens when we do a Prezi video and we go live, it actually, the Prezi desktop app will remove that image and replace it with the camera feed. So for us, that's less interesting. But if you click on these three little dots here, then it will open up this menu on the right-hand side where you could technically upload your own image, choose one of ours. You can change the background color. Now, some people like to choose like a vivid green color or a bright purple color, so they know, okay, this is where the camera feed will be. You can also, if you go up here to the button where it says create video, another thing that you can do is put yourself into this template and see, okay, what does it look like when I'm actually presenting? So of course, it's not going to pick up my other camera. It's really frustrating. So basically, it will, when I allow camera, it will switch on the camera. And what I can do is, you see this button that says freeze camera. So I'll come over here and say hello. So I can freeze the camera like that. And then I know, okay, if I'm moving the content around, where am I going to appear when I'm doing all that? But I personally don't like looking at myself, because we've done enough of that in this last year. So I always prefer just a plain, I actually quite like this gray background, because I can see white text and white content on there. But you will find your own preferred way of working. Okay, so let's start to build out the presentation a little bit. Now, obviously, we build this lovely template for you to show you how you might have your content, and you can, zoom around through it and see how it's put together. And you can use some of this if you want. But if you want to set yourself up in a way that you can use time and time again, what I normally do is I'll just delete all of those other topics. And what I'll do is I'll build one topic in the way that I really like it. And then I'm going to save that in my library. And then anytime I want to add a topic, I have it in my colors in the way that I like it. And again, it's a really great way to speed up how you work. So if I double click on this, I'll obviously go into the topic, and I'm going to just delete all of this as well, because I don't need it. And I'm also going to delete all of this because I don't want this for what we're doing. So I'm just going to take all of these elements and delete them. And actually what I want is just this nice transparent shape that I have there behind. But I have the part of this black, if I zoom out again, I have my black rectangle thumbnail, which appears when I'm inside my topic, but I actually don't want that there. So this is where I let you into the most powerful area of the Prezi editor. So if I click on this topic, and you always know when you've selected an object inside Prezi, because you'll see these 4 white boxes in the corner. And I'm on a Mac, so I'll hit Control on the keyboard, right click on the mouse, and it opens up a whole other menu. And what you want to choose is the advanced topic editing. And what this will do is open up the different layers that you have inside the thumbnail, if you like, or the topic cover, as we call it. And what you can then do is start to change many things. And I'll show you how this is going to open up lots of cool stuff that you can do. But if I select my main kind of like thumbnail image here, and I do the same thing with Control right click, you see that I can make it visible both inside and outside. So what I want it to be is visible outside only. So then when I click out of there and I click back in here, it's now not showing. So this already starts to hint at what we can do, but maybe we're not happy with that particular shape. So I go back up here to my static style menu, and you can see that we have, obviously I can automatically change the topic shape. So maybe I fancy having a different shape altogether. Or I can open up the 3 little dots there to open up the menu, and I can literally handpick, you know, do I want to change one of those into something else? Hang on, let's see if it's actually going to select it. Okay, maybe I'll just do a refresh. So whilst it's doing this, it's a good moment to remind you, if you have questions, to put them into the question area so we can deal with those at the end, or my colleagues that are also on the call can also help field things as they're happening as well. So let's let this load up again. So yeah, so like we were saying, maybe we want to change what that topic looks like. So I go into here, I press this button, open up those 3, and I can press one of those. And it's not going to do it. So maybe I'll come back to that. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, I'll come back to that. It's obviously not going to do it. So anyway, so I can change the topic shape, but the real power is obviously when I can use an image of my choice. I can put a PNG image, and that can be the topic cover. And this is when you can actually start to do a lot of very creative stuff. We also have colors in this menu. So obviously we have a range of color palettes already chosen for you. But again, I can click on here, and you can set up your own color palette that you always have. So you can obviously, you know, give it a name up here. Maybe you just put your company name, or you say it's the brand palette. And for each of the different elements, the background, topics, subtopics, you can actually choose what color you would like that to be. And you can obviously pick a global color, or you can choose, you know, bring in your RGB reference or hex reference and set it up for all of those. So then that's saved, and you will always be able to pick the colors straight away that you want. And the same for font. So obviously you can change the font at a global level as well. The insert menu here is obviously where I can start to insert lots of different types of content. And it's also where you can add, if I click here on watermark, I can actually add a logo that will always appear inside. If I choose the Prezi logo here for a second, it will appear down here on the bottom left, and you will always then have, wherever you are in the presentation, it will be there. Now, because I have a white logo, I'm going to go ahead and put a nice little background in there. So I'm going to choose a black background for it. And I'm going to use this opacity slider just to give it a bit of transparency, because that always looks nice when I'm presenting. And now this logo will stay there all the time. So again, this is where you can do things like that. And obviously, as we start building, you'll see later on how we can add lots of content to the Prezi as well. Now, here is a good moment to talk about the fact this is a static menu, but we also have smart menus. So every time you select an object in Prezi, so I click on here, you'll suddenly see this menu open up. And this is all of the options that are relevant to what you're going to be doing or what you might want to do with that particular object. So if I open up a topic, for example, it says you can add it to library. And if I bring in an image, for example, so if I insert image, and I'll just bring in any image to show you, it will again open up a smart menu that's relevant to an image. So, you know, maybe I just want to crop that image. It will always give me the relevant tools. So that's just as an awareness thing that you know about the smart menus that appear. And the share is obviously all of the things that you might want to do after you've finished, including bringing your teammates into the presentation so you can build it together, as well as obviously presenting items. Now, another thing I'll just bring out on here is the speaker notes. So here you can obviously typing, you know, hello, welcome to the team meeting. And then when we've finished building that and we want to present, these presenter notes will appear in the Prezi Video desktop app when you go live and you present. So you can do that as you go through your presentation. You can add presenter notes. So that's something, again, that people always want to know about. So let's go back to our building. So I'm going to use the shortcut, which is Command E, which is going to open up my topic cover. And I've now got obviously various different parts here. So I have my text box, I have my image, etc. So I'm going to actually go ahead and delete that because I don't want it in there. And I'm instead going to insert a shape. So I go up to my insert menu and I'm going to bring in a shape. And I'm going to see my smart menu appears up here. So I'm going to say, okay, let's do it in a nice purple color. And I also want that to have some kind of transparency. So in that same menu, I have my opacity slider. So I'll just bring that back to about here, normally like just less than or about a third of the way back. And that's going to give me a nice transparency. And whilst I'm here, I'm also going to do Control on the keyboard, right click and send it to back because I want the text to be here at the front. And I'm also going to insert image because and I'll upload image because we had this first one was going to be all about kudos. So I bring in my icon that I have ready. And I can change the text to kudos like so. And I can actually, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller and I can resize this so it's here. And now I start to have my nice topic that I can have here. And if I double click into here, then it's obviously just with this white transparent shape. Now, if I go back into the topic cover, what I also want to show you is this, which is the zoom area that you see when you zoom inside the topic. So if I take our purple box just for a second and I'll make it invisible both inside and outside. And again, I did that using control right click on the control on the keyboard and right click on the mouse. So at the moment, look, when I see at the moment that I can see all of that rectangle when I zoom in. And if I zoom in, then yes, sure enough, I see all of the rectangle. Now, what I can do, if you actually want to have a little bit of that purple showing, I can highlight the zoom area and I can move it, or I can change the size of it as well. And maybe what I want to do is just to have a little bit of it showing like this. So then I click out of here. And now when I zoom in, I just have a little bit of it showing. So this is a great way that you can leave your audience, I call it like digital breadcrumbs. So people, remember, okay, this is that purple topic and it's about this particular subject. But for our purposes today, we're not going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and just make it visible on the outside only, and just for neatness sake, make this like this. So pretty much this is how I want all of my topics to be. So what I can do here is I can go ahead and I click here and I add it to my library. And what this does is actually now I never have to build any of that again. I can always just go to insert, go to my library, and you will see, straight away, I can just click on the topic and it will bring it in here and it's all ready to use. So yeah, very, very simple to do. Now, actually, for our purposes, I'm going to just copy this and I'm going to put another version of it in here, because what we had on that video, if you remember, was a nice image. So how can we, instead of having a shape, use an image? So again, I click on the topic. So I see those 4 white boxes, Command E for the shortcut. And now I'm actually going to just take all of that out. And now I'm going to insert an image that I want as my topic cover. So I hit the upload image button over here. And here we have our nice image of 3 people. And basically, I just open this up. I can change it and make it much bigger. Maybe I'll have that red box in the middle of it, and then click out of there. And now that is my topic. So now then I just double click on here and it takes me through into here. And that is where you'll start to see where, and obviously I can place this wherever I want. So that already starts to open up a lot of potential for what you can do. Now, if I go into my kudos area, then this is where I was going to show you how to insert a video. So we had an image of one of the people on my team. So I just, for now, I'll use a library image. So I want a picture of the person, because when I'm giving kudos, I want to say, hey, this person did this amazing video. And what I can do normally is I would also go insert video. But if I do it now, because I'm already on this Zoom call with all of you, it would probably take an hour to upload the video. So this is where the power of my library comes in. So if I click on my library, here is the video that I uploaded earlier on. So what it does is straight away brings it into the editor for no need for uploading. So again, it just shows you how you can very quickly save time by using the library. So now I have these 2 things that I want to appear or maybe disappear when I'm presenting. And you'll see when I added the video, it straight away added here on the left-hand side, this zoom to video animation, if you like, because as well as showing you all of the various slides that you have in your presentation, it will also put in all the animations in this timeline on the left-hand side here. So if I go into present mode, the zoom to video, what it shows you is, as I come into this kudos it will zoom into the video and then it will automatically start playing it, which we don't want right now. And what we definitely don't want is for that to go full screen, because we want to be seen with our presentation. So this is where I'll just go ahead, click on those three dots, delete that. I don't want that in my animation. And then I start to think about, okay, so when I first zoom into this topic, that picture can already be there, so I don't need to add any animation. But then I want to fade it out before I go into the next one. So I click on the object, so I know it's highlighted with the 4 white boxes, and I can either go up here to the smart menu and click add animation, or I can go insert animation like this. And again, you see here, this is also like a smart menu to some regards. So I click on the object, and the first thing I want to happen is for that to fade out. So I click the fade out button, and you see over here on the left-hand side that the fade out animation sequence has worked. And then the next thing I want to happen is I select my video, I want my video to fade in. And you see the video fades in over here, and you can always move the animation sequences so they come in at different organization flow. And you can even press this little button on the left-hand side, which will preview the animations. You see the picture there fade out, and this is the video fading in. And now I can really resize these and have them wherever I want on the page. So the video, I want to be big enough that people can see it next to me, but there's still space for me here to the left of it. And the picture of the team member, I will just make really big, and I will have here like this. Now, because of the animation sequences I've put in, when I go to present, then if I go back to the beginning and I start here and I zoom into this topic, then the picture is already there. I click, it fades out, and then I click again and the video fades in, and then I can just press play on the video when I'm live and it will present. So that's how you do something like add in videos and you start to use animation sequences. Now at this point, I want to add another topic. So I can go to insert, go back to my library, and I just click on here, and it brings in my topic all built how I like it. And obviously this one was going to be metrics. So I can basically start to make the changes on here. Hang on a second. So we're going to call this metrics, and then I'm going to highlight this, Control E. I'm going to get rid of this image, and I'm going to insert image, because I have, if I upload, I already have my folder ready, and I have the metrics image here, so I can just bring this in, and then, have this on here as well. I'm not going to, even though the designer in me wants to make it perfect, I'm going to resist the urge. But you see there, okay, now I have my metrics topic cover, and now I want to insert my chart, because we also had a chart. So here I'm going to actually bring this all the way across, because I want to cover the entire screen. And then what I'm going to do is add my chart. And you could also do this if you have, for example, like a chart or a graph that you have in Excel, for example. You could just bring this in, but the main thing you want to do is bring it in as a PNG, because you want it to be transparent. But I'm just going to go ahead here and insert, and we have chart. Now, I'm not going to go into this too much, because again, we could do a whole webinar just on this, but I'm going to choose just a basic line chart. You have two options, dark and light, and this means, do you want the text or the font to be dark or light? So because we have the white background, I'm going to go ahead and select dark, and this will automatically open up my chart. So this could be the same as if you've just inserted something from somewhere else. If you have an existing chart, I can obviously resize it. And what I want to do, if I select all of this, I can obviously, again, go up here and add an animation. So maybe I just want to fade it in when I'm presenting. And just so you see what can be done with charts, if I go ahead and select this chart and hit Control on the keyboard, right click on the mouse, and I hit here, Edit Chart, then actually it will open up a whole editing world for my chart. So for example, I can change the data, I can import data from a spreadsheet, I can bring it in, I can change all of the chart properties, I can change the color, many things, but I'm not going to go into that because that's too much detail for today, but just so you're aware of it. But now basically I have this set up. So when I press the button on my keyboard, then it appears as I wanted to do so. So this is the bones of the presentation that I showed you at the beginning. So what I would do now is, obviously that's all saved. And what I want to do is to present this live in a video conference, for example. So for this, I'm going to go back to my Prezi video desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. And when you open up the app, you'll see again different options. We did it before in the beginning where we imported the PowerPoint. You can also do the quick record using this, but what we want to do is obviously import our Prezi. So when you do that, it connects to prezi.com in the cloud, and you can see here this is the presentation that we were just working on. So I click on it to highlight it and I import it, and it will start to download it. Now what we want to do, hello again, it's been a while. Now, what we want to do when this is downloaded is obviously we want to save it to the desktop, or because then it's not going to be using bandwidth when we're presenting. Now, I see it's already gone ahead and connected me to the Zoom call. So what I would normally do is I would hit File up here in the Prezi video menu, Save As, and then it will open up, and I will do team meeting, and I'll save it to the desktop. And you see there straight away the team meeting, it's there on my desktop. So then what I would do is I would close this down, and I will double click on that file, which will automatically open it up inside the Prezi video desktop app. And now it's not going to be using so much bandwidth. And yes, now you can see me in the, let me stop screen sharing as well. And now you see me in the Zoom meeting as well. And then I can obviously go ahead and start presenting the content that we just built, zoom that out. There's the video that I had before, and then we can go into metrics, bring up the chart, so I can do things like that. So that was a lot of information in the last 30 or 40 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and close that down, and maybe let's get into some Q&A. Vince, I don't know if you want to come on as well, or stay in the background if you're happy to, whatever you want to do. Hey, so is there any burning questions we should handle straight away, or?
Sure, yeah. The most burning question is, will we be getting a recording of this session? And yes, everybody, you will all be getting a recording of this session. So if you had to hop off, if it's midnight for you, you will be getting a copy of this. It'll be sent out in a link following this session. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so I'll move to the Q&A. Let's have a look. Somebody asked, can I provide specs on the mic? Sure, it's a Blue Yeti mic that I've been using. And I also have, you probably saw it when my other camera picked up during that creation process. Exactly, Vince is showing you there. And I also have this microphone cover here, which is really good. It's not expensive, but it kills all of the echo and makes the sound quality a lot better. Okay, Daria asks, can you show us how to do it without a template? I mean, I can't go through the whole process, but if I share my screen again, hang on, let's just close this down. So there'll be too many things working at the same time. Hang on a second, share desktop. The best way to do that is if we, hang on, let's close this down. Let's go all the way back to the dashboard. So if I go back to the dashboard and go into Prezi Present, and one of the easiest ways, if I go to create from template, is there's one template which has almost 0 in it. This one here, the general one. So if I use that one, all I need to do is delete 2 items, and then you have a completely blank canvas that you can start. And I normally start by just inserting a shape, bringing it onto the canvas, making it transparent, adding the topics on top of that. But yeah, so this is what I do. If I want to build something from scratch, then I literally will just delete the text boxes, delete that topic, and now I have a blank Prezi where I can just start, literally insert a shape, bring it on, and start building it. So yeah, that's the way that I would do that. Let me stop the screen share again. Let's go back to the questions. Hey
Spencer, I'll answer one while you're searching for the next one to answer. I'll hop in. One of the questions I keep seeing is if the content looks pixelated. So if you're in the audience of somebody using Prezi Video, the best thing you can do is make your zoom window as large as possible. The larger your zoom window is, the clearer everything gets. So we recommend going full screen. And if you're the presenter, recommend to your audience to go full screen. This is typically understood anyway, because a lot of the times you don't want them distracted by other stuff anyway. So go full screen. And the larger the zoom window is, the clearer it gets. And the other question is, that I keep seeing is, does this work with Microsoft Teams or WebEx or things like that? And yes, Prezi Video works with, you can stream it directly into your video conference, whether you're on Zoom, WebEx, Microsoft Teams, GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, OBS, really any app where you can switch your camera or even be on camera, you can switch it to the Prezi Video virtual camera, and you can connect your Prezi content into that video conference. Okay, go ahead, Spencer.
Cool. Yeah, maybe there's one that you can help with as well. I was just seeing there's a question from Ava, and she was saying she's imported some slides, but it's covering her face. Why was that? I'll let you take that one.
Sure. So that'll largely depend on which version you were in. So if you imported your slides and you're inside the Prezi Video quick record option, then the reason it's in front of your face is because that's where the content is, right? So I don't have anything on screen right now, but if I were to connect something and I had my content here, I wouldn't sit behind it, right? But then the other option, of course, is that you need to put yourself as the speaker in a position to not be behind your content. Without seeing your particular case, I might assume that you were inside the present editor that Spencer spent a lot of time in today. And in that case, you pretty much just want to move your content in the editor to not be over your face. Now, a lot of times what that might mean is it might mean you have to go into advanced topic editing, like we showed before, right? And have it so that you're not zooming into content and then putting it over your face. So without seeing the specific scenario, it would just be a matter of moving the content so it doesn't cover the speaker.
Cool, thank you.
Sure.
Meg asks, can you embed, I lost the question. Can you embed a video link from YouTube and play it during the presentation without it being clunky? I would hazard a guess that that's massively dependent on how good your bandwidth is. I always prefer to have the video inside my presentation, because then everything's in there and it's not using bandwidth. If you've got the YouTube URL, it's pulling that video feed from YouTube. So that's another area where you might suffer on the bandwidth side, but technically it's possible. Anything to add, Vince?
No, I would agree with that. Now, you do have the option in Prezi Video to immediately switch to a screen share. So that does provide you some extra opportunities where you can switch to share a particular window, right? So give me just a second here and I'll connect something. Give me just 1 second to find a video on my computer. And let's just go here and I'm going to pull this up and I'll show you what that might look like. So I'm going to have a video kind of queued up. Now, this isn't YouTube. It could have been, but like Spencer said, that YouTube is just extra bandwidth. So what I can do is let's connect my camera here to Prezi Video Virtual Camera. So you all can see some content now, right? I've got this on screen. I think Spencer's still spotlit. So if I could spotlight myself really quick, and I'm going to do that. Here we go. You all can see my content now. So I might be presenting like this, right? And then at any point, I can switch and share my video if I want to. So I could say, all right, let's share this video here. Now I have this video and I can play it and it's going to play alongside me here. Oh, wow. Now I'm sharing and it has audio as you can hear. I'm going to mute that while that plays, but I can share this and it isn't clunky for me. I mean, I just switched from my presentation to sharing this window, but this doesn't have to be a video. This could be a website. It can be a product demo if I'm trying to show how to use Adobe or something like that, or even show how to use Prezi. I can make this shared window be anything. I can go full screen with it if I want to. So I can make it full screen and I can unmute if I wanted to. Of course, I can unmute it, but I'm not going to try to talk over it. But you can see that I can switch to a screen share. And then whenever I'm done, I can immediately just stop my screen sharing. And now I'm just right back to presenting and I could just go fluidly, pretty seamless. Once you're understanding what you're doing, it's pretty seamless to go from presentation to sharing something to coming right back to presentation.
Cool. Thank you for that, Vince. Any last word? I appreciate we're coming up on the hour. So is there any last questions you want to field or any last words of advice from you to people?
Yeah, so I put a couple of links in the chat and I'll post them again before we close the meeting. One of them is for our learning resources. So a lot of little mini tutorials, little 2 to 3 minute videos of how to do pretty much everything, just really segmented. If you want to know how to do this one thing, there's video for it. And then I'm also going to drop in a link to all of the on-demand training. So every week or right now every other week, I'm holding an essentials series. So how to do everything inside of Prezi. So everything that Spencer showed, I break it out over 2 sessions. So we get 2 full hours to really kind of slow down and dig into this stuff. And it's typically smaller. It's not huge public webinars. There's less people. So I get to get some more questions. And those are just called Essentials 1 and Essentials 2. So I'm going to put those links in the chat again. I put them in the chat before, but I'm going to put them in again. And you could always join a live training as well. But I'm going to put 3 links in the chat. So we won't close this yet, but I am going to hand it back to Spencer while I go and grab those links and drop them in the chat for you.
Perfect. And what we can also do, we can make sure that we send those links with the email with the recording afterwards as well. So they'll definitely be there. And if you remember when we started nearly 50 minutes ago, when you're in the dashboard of Prezi, if you hit that question mark, you'll also find the gateway into all of the learning stuff and the webinars. So there's always lots of places that you can go to for help. So as we're coming up on the hour, I just want to say thank you to everybody for giving us some of your precious time and to obviously, be excited to learn about how you can do more with Prezi Video. I hope you found it useful and instructive, and we will definitely send you the recording along with all of the links, and we'll also scan through the questions, and if there's anything else that we can, we'll also answer that in the email that goes out. Thanks, Vince, for joining us and being part of it, and also Michael behind the scenes. And yes, we will see you again next time. So thanks, everybody. Bye for now.